How has an RV lifestyle affected myself and my family? Almost can't put a number on it. You know, my family is, you know, we're people of faith. And if you know, reading through the Old Testament, there was a lot of nomadic people. So I a lot of times look at the RV lifestyle as a little bit of that nomadic lifestyle. And the fact that you're so close together, it just builds on that family dynamic. There was a point in time back in 2008, 2009, when the economy was, you know, falling apart. It was a big mess everywhere. And I worked for a big dealer group, and we were in trouble with our inventory. And this dealer group sent myself and 5 others to open up basically a wholesale lot. And our job was to liquidate used inventory to get it off the books because the company needed money. And we were selling these motorhomes, and we were working out of an old Suzuki car lot in downtown Orlando. Not the normal place to put an RV dealership, I can assure you. We had problems with homeless people breaking into the units. We had problems with people selling drugs at the back of the lot. I mean, we had a psychiatric center that was at the back of the property. It was crazy, but it was one place that we could afford to get a piece of inventory that was close to an airport and be able to you know, fly customers in and buy the coaches. So from a business model, it worked pretty good, but it was a super sketchy location. I was driving from Tampa to Orlando every day for about, I don't know, maybe a month or so. And I just got to the point I said, I can't take it. So I told my wife, I was like, I need to get an RV and stick it in the campground there. And I say get an RV. We had a travel trailer at the time, and I wanted to get a 5th wheel to have more room, but to live there, you know, during the week, and then I'd come home on the weekends. And I'm a big fan of my wife, and I believe she's a pretty big fan of me, and we just didn't want to be apart. So she's like, let's get the 5th wheel, we'll put it in the campground, and then we can stay with you, you know, we can come out and stay a couple nights a week, so we're not apart 5 nights a week. I say, cool, let's do it. So we got a 40-foot Teton, big 5th wheel, slides everywhere, just a big monster 5th wheel, and had a stacked washer and dryer in it, which was an imperative because if Mom was going to stay there with the kids, we had to have that. But we came out there for like the first weekend, and we loved it. And the prospect of not having to go home, something changed. And I don't know exactly what that is other than just the joy of being together. So when Monday came, Mama was going to go home and take the kids with her, but she didn't. And then Tuesday came, and she didn't go home. And then by the end of the weekend, we said, well, you know what, we need to go back to the house and, you know, do whatever kind of maintenance has to be done or that sort of thing. So we go home, and we're home like for a day and a half, and it's like, let's go back. Well, long story short, we ended up full-time in it. We had such a good time. We ended up full-time in it for almost a year, working in Orlando. And my kids to this day would probably tell you that's one of their most memorable experiences, is getting to live in a 5th wheel in a campground, close quarters, kind of cramped, but it was fantastic. When we would sit down and have dinner, we were always sitting together. And a lot of the times, the booth dinette was made down into a bed, and we had a couple young kids at that time too. We had 6 kids all in, so a lot of kid stories. But the booth dinette was kind of made into a crib. So when my wife would make dinner, sometimes she didn't want to fool with putting the table back together. So we just started sitting down on the floor, like in the old days. We would sit down on the floor with a plate or a bowl, and we would eat and talk. And then when we were done, there was no TV. You know, they didn't put 50-inch TVs in coaches back then. And you know, so we weren't going to sit around and watch a 13-inch bubble screen TV. So we would go out and go for a walk every night. We would go to the pool. We would go to the little fishing pond. Or we would explore and go for a walk to one of the neighborhoods across the street. I mean, it was just, we were always doing something. And I think it's because we had the close quarters that there wasn't a lot to do in the camper, but it forced us to go outside. And we were happier. We had a great time. And again, if you ask my kids what their experience was during that time, they always talk about it with a glow. They just enjoyed it. They had fun. And yeah, that's probably I don't know if I answered your question right or not, Joe, but.